Welcome to the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. My name is Jin Ong and I'm your host. I practice as an osteopath and psychosomatic therapist and am fascinated by the mind-body connection and how your physical body is a manifestation of your emotional state. I help people get unstuck from their chronic pain and live the life they want, grounded in values and driven by purpose. My aim is to create awareness to the underlying emotions behind pain, injury, and disease in the body. Join me to learn more about the story of your body, what different issues may indicate, how to release emotions so that you can prevent problems, as well as inspiring pain story interviews. Hi there! Coming to you today with another tip to help keep you on track and refocus your attention. Everything on this podcast is centered around emotional awareness, expressing yourself fully, and taking action towards living to your full potential. In simple terms, this means listening to your body, not stuffing down your emotions, and showing up to the world for who you really are and sharing your gifts and talents. 7 years ago, I learned a simple skill that takes me 5 minutes at the start of each month to create and 1 minute each day to practice. I thought it was a really cheesy exercise when I got into it, but as always, I'm willing to give things a go and see what happens. This exercise is goal setting and has created some amazing things in my life today. You've likely heard of goal setting. Either you do it, or you've tried and it hasn't worked so well for you, or you've thought about trying it and that's about as far as you've gotten. If the latter is you, you're probably a perfectionist or a procrastinator, and both of these can be equally paralyzing. I've been both, and I can tell you the grass is greener on the other side. There's been a small handful of months where I've not set goals and I've felt a little scattered and directionless for those months. I wasn't a good goal setter to start. It's a little bit like saying I'm not a good meditator, but it's all about the process. I did the same things most people do. Not be specific about what I wanted, or try and achieve 2 to 3 year goals in 1 month. Or I would set multiple goals under each section. My attention was spread thin, so I wasn't making progress in any area. But before I threw it all away, I reflected on my approach to this exercise. I learnt a little more and refined how I worked with goal setting. Goals can help you decipher the action steps needed to achieve your bigger picture, vision, or dream. Goals can give you a sense of clarity and direction. It helps you work out where to focus your energy and your efforts each day, week, month, and year. It's a reasonably masculine exercise, but we do require the masculine energy to help us create those feminine desires. Many people resist goal setting for fear of not achieving the goals, not wanting to put too much pressure on themselves, or they just prefer to go with the flow. If going with the flow is working for you, you don't have any stress and life is good, keep going. But if life is not flowing, give this a go. Remember, nothing changes until you make a change. Normally, I would suggest looking at the long-term picture, either 2 to 3 years ahead or 7 years. And think about what you want your life to look like and then work your way backwards. It's all about the small steps and actioning those steps. Be patient with yourself. If you want to write out what you want your life to look like 2 to 3 years or 7 years ahead, go ahead. But I know this can be overwhelming. So today, I'd love it if you could at least set some goals for the coming month. I like to focus on the 7 life areas. If any of these areas of life aren't flowing, this is when emotional disconnect can happen and the physical body gets affected. It's important that you be selfish and set goals for yourself that mean something to you. The 7 life areas are health, family and relationships, business and career, finances, education, social, and spiritual. Health goals can be around exercise, fitness, weight, sleep, or self-care. Family and relationships can be your intimate partner, children, parents, and siblings. Business and career can be wanting to change your job or maybe to go out on your own. Finances is about how much you actually want and need to live the life you want and do the things you want. Education. Growth is a human need. Education could be reading a book, listening to a podcast to learn something new, or learning a new skill, or going back to study. Social is about the people you want to surround yourself with. Ideally, you surround yourself with those who support you and encourage you. So this could be catching up with these people or having a phone call with them. Spiritual, this can mean whatever you want. It can be being connected to the universe, meditating, yoga practice, or if you're religious, it could be a goal around this. Here's how I recommend you set goals. The SMART acronym does actually work. SMART. S is specific. What do you actually want? It's surprising how difficult people find it to say what they really want. Or this fear that arises of what life would look like if they actually had what they wanted. Fear of success is a big one, and fear of failure. M is measurable. You want to be able to look back at your goal and know that you have achieved this. This could be putting a time or an amount on your goal, and I'll share some examples later. A is attainable. Anything is achievable, but make sure it's actually possible within the time period. Start easy, allow yourself to achieve things, and then start to stretch yourself. R is relevant. Make sure your goal means something to you and that you're not doing it for anyone else. Sometimes people put realistic in here, which is a good idea. However, it's important to note that sometimes our mind tells us something is unrealistic when it is actually possible. T is time-bound. Give yourself a deadline. This is Parkinson's law. You'll use as much time as you're given. Wait until the last minute and you'll get it done in a minute. 10 hours to do a 5-hour job, you'll take 10 hours. The next thing to consider is the language you use when you're setting goals. I suggest that you start each sentence as if you already have the thing. I am so happy I have ... So let's go through all of the life areas and I'll give you some examples of goals. I'll hone in on the health life area goal and use a SMART acronym so you can see how I use it. So this is one of my goals that I have on my list probably for the last few months, and it's I am so happy I go to sleep at 10 p.m. each night and listen to sleep hypnosis for a deep and refreshing sleep. It's specific. I know what I need to do. I need to listen to sleep hypnosis. It's measurable. I go to sleep at 10 p.m. every night so I can look back and see if I've actually done this. It's attainable. Going to sleep at 10 p.m. is very attainable and achievable. It's relevant to me. I need to go to sleep at that time so that I get that deep and refreshing sleep and that I feel energized the next day. And T for time bound. I've got that 10 p.m. and I want to do it every night. I could probably put in there that I go to bed every night at 10 p.m. Another example for those of you out there is I am so happy that I go for a walk 30 minutes 3 times a week to motivate and energize me. So going into family and relationships, I'll share another one of my own personal goals, which is often on there every single month. And it is, I am so happy that I catch up with Gav at 9 p.m. each night he is around to debrief and catch up and share love and appreciation for one another. This is an exercise I call heartfelt listening. There's a lot more to it than just debriefing and love and appreciation. There is actually a technique to it. For those of you who follow me on my free Facebook group, you'll know that we also share what we resent about one another. This helps keep us connected and communicate in a healthy way. I'll pop the link to the Facebook group and you can search for heartfelt listening and watch it with your partner if you're having issues. I highly recommend this technique. Then jumping into business goals. This is something that when I started goal setting, I realized this is where a huge amount of my focus was and how I had actually created imbalance in my life. I like these 7 life areas because it really makes you recognize what you might be neglecting that you actually need to pay attention to create balance in your life. So I'd easily pump out multiple business goals, then forget to make time for friends and my social network. Another thing around just challenging yourself, I said make sure your goals are easy to achieve at the start. This is definitely something I did with my business goals, but as I achieved them each month, I would stretch and challenge myself a little more and start to achieve goals that I initially thought were quite a challenge or maybe even unachievable. Of course, they required action to make them happen. The next goal is around finances, which is really interesting. There are a lot of people out there who aren't doing so well with personal finances. I've been there. Money comes in, it goes out, and I didn't pay much attention to it. I just hoped that it kept coming in. Not anymore though. I am much more specific about the actual figure. It's important to dream about the lifestyle that you want in the future and recognize how much money that may require to travel or to buy things for yourself. I know there's a lot of people out there who may criticize and ask, do you really need that? You're allowed to want things to support yourself and do everything you want versus just surviving on the minimum. Education. This fills the human need for growth. This could be studying to stimulate your brain. It could be going back to university or just jumping on to do a quick online course. But it can also be reading a book about a particular subject, reading an internet article, or listening to a podcast. Often my goal is, I am so happy I read a book for 20 minutes 3 times a week to learn more about emotional anatomy. Social goals. For me, this is around the friendships that I have and how I want to nurture them. When I get busy, I can get very distracted and forget to connect with people. But I know how important it is, so my weekly social goal or monthly social goal is I am so happy that I catch up with a friend in person or on the phone once a week. If there's someone specific that I haven't connected with for a long time, I might write down their specific name. Spiritual goals. This is the last one, and it's very open to interpretation. You don't have to be religious. You may be religious. I'm not. It can be something simple like meditation. Another example, I used to meditate twice a day for 1 hour, but then it didn't fit into my life so easily. Or some might say I just didn't make time, which is true. However, meditating twice a day for 1 hour each day just became unachievable. Even if I wrote it down as a goal, I wouldn't do it. I'd find all sorts of other things to do before I would meditate 1 hour twice a day. So I came to the realization and figured that 5 minutes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, was better than nothing. So you can see how all of these goals follow the reinforcing language of I am so happy and the SMART acronym of specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. But now, what do you do with your goals? First of all, you want to think them. Then you want to write them out. Then read them daily. Speak them out on a daily basis. And then the most powerful is to share them. I like to keep my goals on my phone and read and speak them to myself each morning. This helps me set the tone of what I'm going to focus on each day. It really helps if I've got lots going on and maybe I'm feeling a little bit scattered. I'm like, right, what am I actually trying to achieve? And it helps ground me. Another suggestion could be printing it out on a piece of paper or writing them out on a piece of paper and sticking them in your bathroom or in your wardrobe, somewhere that you go every day where you can read them and speak them. I also have multiple accountability partners or groups that I share my goals with. By doing this, I want to keep them motivated and I don't want to let them down. Plus, they keep me accountable to staying focused towards my goals. And this is also important to surround yourself with those people who encourage you and support you, like those social goals. So these are friends that I can share my big lofty goals with without any criticism or judgment. Sometimes the action of just writing a goal sets that intention and brings what I need. I'd love it if this always happened, but it's not always that easy. Most of the time I need to do some sort of action. However, it is really amazing when you do just write something and it comes into your life. So what happens when I don't achieve a goal? I reassess them. Maybe that goal needs to change, like my meditation goal. It could have been too ambitious, or I need another month to work on it. But I don't throw away the idea of goal setting just because it didn't work the first couple of months. I look at what I can change and what I can refine. I've attached my goal setting worksheet in the podcast notes if you want an easy template to follow. It may take you a little while if you're new to this exercise, but with practice, it will get easier and easier. Set some goals for this upcoming month and see where it takes you. Thanks for learning with me on the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. If you like what you've heard, I would love if you could rate, review, and share with your friends. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is The Art of Listening to Your Body. You can join my free Facebook group where I go live regularly to teach you about different conditions and the deeper underlying emotions at play.